Welcome to Gatorzone.com. I'm Chris Harry. He's Scott Carter. This is the first time we've been with you since the Gators went down to Miami last weekend and lost to the Miami Hurricanes 21-16. Obviously a very disappointing performance by Florida down there. They had a bye week to kind of process that loss and the mistakes in that loss. Scott, how did the Gators basically spend the last few days in their open date getting ready for what's ahead?
Yeah, I mean, Sunday they rehashed kind of the Miami loss, went over what mistakes they made in the game. Monday and Tuesday, a lot of red zone work. I mean, that's what really cost them against the Hurricanes. They made 6 trips inside the red zone, came away with 1 touchdown. Not going to win a lot of games like that. They turned it over a couple times down there, and it really came back to cost them. Miami didn't have a lot of opportunities, but they cashed in on the ones they had, and in the end, the Hurricanes came away with the win. So Florida's, really looked at just, taking away those mistakes that they made against Miami and try to correct those before Tennessee comes to town next week.
The Gators will have the weekend off. University of Tennessee, the opponent next week here in the Swamp, will not have the weekend off. They'll be going to Oregon for as hard a non-conference game as they'll be in the country maybe this season. What do we know a little bit about Tennessee?
Well, we know they're 2-0 going out to Oregon. It's going to be interesting to see how they match up with the Ducks. I mean, Oregon's obviously one of the top teams in the country in the rankings. Tennessee still, we don't know a lot about this team under first-year coach Butch Jones, but they did get off to a nice start with a couple of wins at home, including a big win over Western Kentucky and Bobby Petrino last week in Knoxville. And this is a huge test for them, kind of like, with the Gators going down to Miami last weekend. This is Tennessee's first real big test. So, by late Saturday night, we should know a little bit more about the Vols before the Gators take the practice field on Monday, starting to prepare for them.
The Gators have won 8 straight against the Volunteers, dating to Urban Meyer's first season in 2005. Florida's going to get a few more players back next week, starting with, I believe, John Halapio, which should help that offensive line a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line came out of the Miami game kind of banged up. Tyler Moore was nursing an ankle injury. DJ Humphrey sprained his knee and missed some of the second half. Obviously, John Halapio, when you looked at this offensive line going into this season, he may be the most highly, talented guy there. At least he's just a veteran guy, big body there in the middle of the open holes in the running game. And we haven't seen him yet because he had a pectoral muscle strain before fall camp. So he's just now getting into full contact drills. But they've always targeted the Tennessee game as the game that he's going to be back for. As of right now, everything seems to be on pace for that to happen. And then, it's also going to be Matt Jones' second game back. I mean, we saw him down at Miami, but here's a guy, you could tell he's still shaking off a little bit of the rust. Had 47 yards on 18 carries, but I think as he gets, finds his form, and with Halapio back, Tyler Moore maybe healthier at right tackle. I mean, they're hoping that offensive line, does some things in the running game against Tennessee, because when this team wins, it's usually with the running game and then the passing game playing off of that.
What is that record when Muschamp's teams rush for what's the number?
Yeah, since under Muschamp, the Gators are 13-0 when they rush for 150 more yards, 6-9 when they don't. Down in Miami, they had 122, so they came up short. So that's going to be if there's a magic number so far under Muschamp, that's kind of what it is right now.
That's your open date update from Gatorzone. Join us next week. We'll lock in on the Tennessee Volunteers a lot more closely for that. For Scott Carter, I'm Chris Harry. Have a good weekend, everybody.